After the tragic Danforth Ave shooting in Toronto this week, the man identified by the SIU as being the shooter, Faisal Hussein, was revealed by his family in a statement to have had mental health issues for his entire life. How does someone with mental health issues get access to a handgun? That's the logical question, and it's one that people are asking all over the country. To understand this, we need to know how you actually get a firearm in any case. It starts with something called a PAL or an RPAL, a possession and acquisition license, or for some firearms, including all handguns, a restricted possession and acquisition license. To get one of these licenses, which lasts 5 years, you have to go through a few steps along the way. One of them is a safety course. The Canadian Firearm Safety Course. It gives you all the information you need about safe handling, what the rules and regulations are, how to transport them, and you have to do this under the tutelage of a certified firearm safety instructor. After that, you can actually apply. When you apply, there are a number of questions that you're asked about where you work, about your work history, whether you've ever lost a job, whether you've been through a divorce or a bad breakup. And there is also a question about whether you have had in the last 5 years any mental health issues whatsoever, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It also asks about whether you've been under the care or counsel of any mental health providers or mental health practitioners, whether you've ever threatened your life or attempted your life, whether you've ever threatened harm or injury to someone else. These are questions that are meant to weed out the more violent or potentially dangerous, potentially violent people in the country with mental illness who are seeking access to firearms. It is a yes or no question, but it's not just your word for it. The government is actually looking at a number of factors. They're interviewing family, they're interviewing romantic partners, they can even interview employers. They can do all of these things, and if anyone along the way says, you know what, I don't think that person should have access to guns, and that's one of the questions. Is there any reason in your mind this person shouldn't have access to guns? Police are supposed to then pull that person aside and say, look, we can't give you your firearms license. That's the way the system's supposed to work. But what if you check yes on the box about mental health issues? Does that mean that you are pulled out of the running for a gun? Not exactly. And it's important that people understand that there is a wide range of mental health issues. There are minor anxiety and depressions, and there are very serious psychoses. There are things that will cause someone no harm or risk to themselves at all, and there are others that could have someone conceivably on a murderous rampage. If you disclose in your application, the police, understandably, the CFO, want a bit more information. I did. I was a suicide survivor. I've written about it extensively, and when I actually applied for my firearms license, it was less than 5 years after the suicide attempt in question. So what did they need? They wanted to talk to my family to make sure that I was safe in their view. They wanted to also get a letter from a healthcare practitioner in the mental health field saying, you know what, Andrew is in a different place in his life now than he was before. The CFO themselves called me up and asked about all of these different things that had happened, and they made a case-by-case determination that I was not going to be a risk, and I've had firearms ever since. That process is supposed to filter out anyone who shouldn't have a firearm or anyone who would be a danger, and it is a very hands-on, case-by-case process. We don't know whether the handgun used by Hussein was acquired legally or illegally. We don't know if he had a license or not. But these are the questions that people are asking for answers to about how one actually gets a gun in the country in the first place, and whether it's even possible for someone with a mental health issue. The short answer is it is, but it's not easy. And the system is meant to distinguish between those with serious mental health issues and those with mental health issues that won't actually cause a risk. And this distinction is important for us to have a sensible approach to firearms. It's also important for us to have a sensible approach to mental health issues. For the True North Initiative, I'm Andrew Lawton.